knowledge and your love, respect. God works in mysterious ways. I'm only the messenger, and I say that respectfully, because I move according on God's timing. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Judgment Day is here. It's a thought process to me. And God is not too pleased, and I say that respectfully. The good God that protects you and covers you and heals you, the good God that shows you that there are better days ahead, not to hurt yourself with words or allow someone to allow you to feel like questioning yourself and finding yourself was a crime. When you mean what you say to show up for yourself without gaslighting yourself, regardless of your sexual orientation, your disability, your culture, or your religion, when you don't have malicious intentions to bring harm towards anybody. It's a thought process to me. How we live in a time where you psyched out your thought process because you thought the norm was the enemy psyching you out your thought process to allow you to believe it was the norm to go against yourself, to hurt yourself with your own words, let alone kick yourself down, or let alone shortchange your neighbor in the same process of kicking them down as well. It's a thought process to me. And I say this respectfully. The good God protects and covers his people, his children. And I say that respectfully. The good God that doesn't have malicious intentions, the good God that's not trying to psych you out your thought process, your freedom or your pockets or your eyesight. That's the good God. I don't think you've been paying attention. Judgment Day is here. No president in the world, and I say that respectfully, will ever value the energy of God, the good God. Because the good God, if the good God was in a president position, the good God will heal his people, will protect his people, not go against his people, poison his people, psych them out their thought process. It's a thought process to me, how you've been brainwashed for so long to allow the enemy to allow you to believe it was the norm. To shortchange yourself when it comes to self-awareness, when it comes to self-respect, when it comes to self-value, self-worth. The enemy played in your life for so long. It became the norm. Dealing with dysfunctional relationships, dysfunctional people, unnormalness. Bringing harm towards an innocent person who ain't projecting negative energy on you. Let alone hurting innocent children. It's a thought process for me. Psyching them out their thought process, they freeing their pockets and their eyesight because you ain't got good intentions. It's the thought process for me. And then sit there and play victim. The good God don't show up like that. The good God protects, heals, loves, and won't go against. You see how the enemy played in your life for so long to allow you to believe it was the norm? While they watch you destroy yourself, up close in person, poison yourself, shortchange yourself when it comes to your self-awareness. So you won't be able to show up for yourself. And I say that respectfully. I'm only the messenger. But it's a thought process to me. Because God works in mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways. You never know when God will appear. But the good God will show you at the end of the day that, hey, having these tools that God installed within you, like, self-awareness, self-respect, self-peace, self-control, self-discipline, self-confidence, self-care, self-value, self-love, self-worth, self-patience, healthy boundaries, healthy balance. To show up for yourself every single day, to elevate. Those tools that God installed within you. So you can become your best self vision of yourself, not shortchange yourself when it comes to elevating and blossoming, to becoming your best self vision of yourself, not psych you out your thought process. That wasn't part of God's plan. I say that respectfully. God works in mysterious ways. God may not be on your time, but God is always on time, and I say that respectfully. God does not want you to go against your neighbor. God does not want you to kick yourself down when you're trying to find yourself within a process of becoming your worst enemy. To shortchange yourself, to kick your neighbor down because they're trying to find balance in their day, because you judge the book by its cover, because of someone's sexual orientation when they ain't got malicious intentions, or their religion, their disability. It's the thought process to me. How the enemy sits back and watches you do their job. For so long, it became the norm, and it's not the norm. It's nothing fun about getting incarcerated. And I say that respectfully. No child should be incarcerated. No mother or father should be incarcerated because of the lack of self-awareness, the lack of self-love, the lack of self-respect, the lack of self-value, the lack of self-worth. Because the enemy allows you to believe it was the norm to destroy yourself, so you won't be able to see for yourself. When it comes to communication, it's the thought process for me. Good day, bad day, misunderstanding day. Wow. God works in mysterious ways when you least expect it. Just because someone understood God's plan and not to kick their neighbor down or to put negative energy into the universe at the end of the day. Someone understood God's plan to show up for themselves in the most healthiest way. Something that you didn't understand was God's plan when it came to that child of God. It was not meant for you to understand that child of God walk of life. And I say that respectfully, especially when they don't have malicious intentions, regardless of their sexual orientation, their disability, their culture, or their religion. Because they show up for themselves. They love themselves. They're not trying to shortchange themselves. They went within to do the proper healing. Or they understood, hey, I ain't going to shortchange myself today. I want to mean what I say and say what I mean. I ain't wearing a mask today to allow the enemy to psych me out my thought process any more than what they allowed me to believe was the norm. To live in a dysfunctional, low vibrational frequency. And they mean what they say. They're willing to show up for themselves. Because you don't understand when someone understands their worth. To understand to come out that comfort zone of being immature to being mature. To know their self-worth. To understand self-awareness. To have self-confidence. To understand self-control. To self-reflect. To understand self-respect. Just because you don't understand when someone finds peace within their day without wearing a mask, because they tuned into themselves, because they can look in the mirror to self-reflect, to understand that God said there are better days ahead. Just because you don't understand and you sit there and manipulate them and you judge a book by its cover because you don't have self-awareness for yourself. You quick to judge a book by its cover because you didn't understand God's plan when it came to that child of God. But it was never a crime for that child of God to choose themselves, because you would want that same respect, neighbor. Good day, bad day, misunderstanding day. You're just trying to find balance in your day. Your neighbor ain't trying to kick you down because they love themselves. They're in their own lane elevating. And you're not understanding God's plan. It wasn't meant for you to understand. Wishful thinking. Trying to figure somebody out at the end of the day, but you can't. Because you can't keep up when it comes to a child of God. Because that child of God's steps is already ordered. And I say that respectfully. And they moving accordingly. It's the thought process for me. When someone understands God's plan to move forward, to understand trauma and pain that was endured within them, and you don't understand how they overcame it, being sexually assaulted, dealing with discrimination, domestic violence, hate crime, sickness, dysfunctional folks. Here you not understanding how they elevating. It went from their childhood point of view into their adulthood. You put a name to your book. It's the thought process for me. Because someone understands to self-reflect, to find themselves, to find peace within their day. They ain't trying to shortchange you, neighbor. They knew how to stay in their lane. Was called respect. Because you'll want that same courtesy when it's your turn. Because it's not easy finding balance within your day. And I say that respectfully. Especially when the enemy allows you to believe becoming your worst enemy was the norm. It was never the norm. So somebody decided to come out that mindset of kicking themselves down and allowing the enemy to not become their worst enemy. You didn't understand God's plan. But because someone believed in themselves and they understood that they walk by faith, not by sight, it wasn't meant for you to understand, neighbor. Not even a little bit. Because you won't want nobody judging you when you're trying to find yourself. Because you will want the right people around you. Good day, bad day, or misunderstanding day. Because not everybody's supposed to be part of your journey, and that's okay. But it's the thought process for me. It takes a village to raise a child. But it also takes a village and a community to respect each other and be at peace within. And I say that respectfully. And we wonder why we can't fix this, right? Because the enemy sits back and watches you watch you kick your neighbor down because you don't have self-awareness to self-reflect, to stay in your own lane. But you just kick your neighbor down because you don't understand God's plan when it came to them. It doesn't make any sense. Someone's gifted, talented, and different. Something that you're not used to. Somebody being real with themselves. And they don't have malicious intentions to bring harm towards themselves or others around them with no malicious intentions. And you still not understanding how this person keeps showing up for themselves and you keep trying to kick them down. But you wouldn't want somebody to shortchange you when you're just trying to find peace within your day. It's the thought process for me. Individuals swear and say they're adults. I'm grown, I'm grown, I'm grown. I'm real, I'm real, I'm real. Ain't nothing adult about you, adulting about you, or real about you at the end of the day. And regardless if you have a child or not, that does not make you the parent that you say you are. And I say this respectfully. Because you have a child, right? And you wouldn't want nobody to put that projection on your child that you can't defend every single day. And I say this respectfully. It's a thought process to me. People paint this narrative that they're grown, they're an adult, they're so real, But you're raising children that you're supposed to protect, right? And show them at the end of the day to respect their neighbor. Not hurt their neighbor. Not go against their neighbor. Especially when someone doesn't have malicious intentions. You're supposed to show them how to defend themselves when they're being attacked. It's the thought process to me. Regardless of their sexual orientation, their disability, their culture, or their religion. And I say that respectfully. You can't defend your child every minute, every second of the day. And you wouldn't want somebody to put that projection on your child, your baby, the one you love, you gave life to. The one that you're supposed to pray for every single day. And ask God to protect them. But you sit here and try to shortchange somebody else's child or a child of God because you don't have the proper self-awareness to stay in your own lane. It's the thought process for me. You see, common sense ain't common sense nowadays. When it comes to conversations at the end of the day, people quick to say, I'm grown, I'm grown, I'm grown, I'm grown. Oh, yeah? Do you know the definition of being grown and mature? Do you really do? Because if you do, you will stay in your lane and not kick your neighbor down. Because you're trying to figure something out within figuring out how this child of God is showing up for themselves. Impossible. This child of God can't be favored by God. It's a thought process to me. Would you want somebody to put that projection on your baby? If you was on this earth or not on this earth? No, you wouldn't. It's the thought process to me. That's why self-awareness is very important. Kicking the next person down because the enemy allows you to become your worst enemy, and you thought it was the norm to kick your neighbor down because you don't have the proper self-awareness. It's the thought process for me. Everybody quick to say, I'm real, I'm real, I'm real, I'm real. Please pump your brakes, and I say that respectfully. Because if you were so real, you will recognize who you're talking to and stay in your own lane. And be mindful when judging a book by its cover. And be mindful, understanding at the end of the day, when it comes to communication, to have self-respect for yourself and have self-respect for your neighbor. Especially when no one is putting that projection of negative energy on you, or has malicious intentions to bring harm towards you or others around you. Neighbor. It's a thought process for me. God works in mysterious ways. The good God would not be okay with knowing at the end of the day his children are going against each other because of being jealous, being envious, because someone loves themselves, because someone's sexual orientation, someone's disability, someone's culture, someone's religion, when they don't have malicious intentions. It's the thought process for me. Someone is not projecting negative energy into the universe at the end of the day, to bring their neighbor down, to allow dysfunctional behavior to be the norm. It's not the norm. You see how the enemy works? While the enemy sits back and watches you watch you. Self-destroy yourself. You see how that works? And then in the process, you kick your neighbor down. But then you have excuses after excuses after excuses. Too many excuses. Well, you're going to be real with yourself and face your music and hell within when you're mentally ready. Because when it comes to trauma and pain, it would never be an overnight process. And you not understanding how that child of God healed from being sexually assaulted, dealing with domestic violence, hate crime, discrimination, sickness. You put a name to your book. You judged a book by its cover because it was someone that you didn't see their value, because they was different. They was real with themselves, to be real with you, but you came up short because you didn't understand God's plan when it came to that child of God. It's the thought process for me. You see how God works? You see how God works? The good God is not going to psych you out your thought process to allow you to believe it's the norm to kick your neighbor down. No. No. Neighbor, you having a misunderstanding self-day with yourself? Let's uplift each other. I may be high vibrational right now, but at the end of the day, I ain't going to kick my neighbor down. Because I want my neighbor to elevate just like I'm elevating. Because it was God's plan for us to elevate together. I wouldn't care if my neighbor was purple, blue, or green. That's my neighbor. I'm going to respect my neighbor. I'm not going to go against my neighbor. Because the enemy allowed us to believe it was okay to kick our neighbor down. With discrimination, with hate crime, with violence. It's a thought process for me. God works in mysterious ways. Sure enough, do. And God is always on time. Always. Amen! God is always on time. God may not be on your time, but God is always on time, and God works in mysterious ways. And I say that respectfully. So be mindful when judging a book by its cover, right? Because of someone's sexual orientation, someone's disability, someone's religion, someone's culture. Because the enemy allows you to believe that certain things were the norm to psych innocent children out their thought process, right? Because of someone's sexual orientation, right? But not everybody's like that. Not everybody's like that. Regardless if you're straight or gay. Because if you want to get technical, it's in both communities. When it comes to innocent children. And I say that respectfully. Being violated. How did that child of God overcome all of that? How? It's not meant for you to understand. That child of God's walk of life. But it's called respect. Everybody's journey is different. And it's not the norm that the enemy sits back and watches you kick your neighbor down because they're against this type of behavior. It's something that you may not understand, but it's not meant for you to understand because not everybody is the same. It's like this. You got your good people and then you got your bad people. We all are not the same. It's the thought process to me. Just like you have a family member that may be, homosexual, whatever the case may be, gay, lesbian, it doesn't matter. You will want someone to respect your folks. Especially when they don't have malicious intentions to bring harm towards innocent children. To psych them out their thought process. They freedom, their pockets, and their eyesight at the end of the day. It's the thought process to me. How the enemy allows you to believe to kick your neighbor down because someone dresses differently. Someone shows up for themselves and don't have to wear a mask because they know how to respect their neighbor and they know how to respect their peers around them. It's really the thought process to me. The good God works in mysterious ways, and I say that respectfully. Be careful when you judge a book by its cover. Because you only play in your own face. And I say that respectfully because Judgment Day's here. I don't think you've been paying attention. It takes a village to raise a child. To respect them children. To show them children that's coming up in the next generation what peace looks like. Just like it takes a village and a community, right? To respect each other and to be at peace within. You ain't got to sleep with somebody at the end of the day. But it's called respect and stay in your own lane. Just because someone ties their shoe differently. Just because of someone's sexual orientation, they ain't got malicious intentions towards you. Or innocent people. Or innocent children at the end of the day. They're in their own lane. Minding their business. Not putting no type of projection or negative energy towards anybody. Besides trying to understand God's plan or try to understand, finding themselves in the most healthiest way to become their best self-vision themselves when it comes to healing. And they ain't got malicious intentions. It's a thought process to me. Be careful when you judge a book by its cover. And I say that respectfully. Be careful when you judge a book by its cover. It's not a threat. I'm only moving on God's time. And don't nobody put no fear in my heart but God. And I say that respectfully. So you could try to kick me down with your words all day long. You could try to disrespect me all day long. But at the end of the day, the only person that's going to break me is God. It's a thought process for me. And I say that respectfully. Be careful when you judge a book by its cover. Self-awareness is very important. And when it comes to healing, trauma, and pain, it would never be an overnight process. It would never, ever, ever be an overnight process. So never allow someone to allow you to believe it would be an overnight process. Never allow someone to allow you to believe it would be an overnight process. Never allow someone to allow you to believe it would be an overnight process. So never allow someone to allow you to believe it would be an overnight process. So never allow someone to allow you to believe it would be an overnight process. So never allow someone to allow you to believe it would be an overnight process. It's no such thing. No such thing. It's a process within a process. And some people process is a little bit longer than others. And I say that respectfully. But when you start your process, when you're mentally stable to say, you know what? I choose me today. I need to go within. I'm tired of being my worst enemy. I'm tired of the enemy watch me destroy myself. And when you go within, I truly hope you find peace within your own lane, to stay in your own lane and respect yourself, to respect your neighbor. Because self-awareness is very important. It really is. Just because someone's high vibration at the end of the day, and they can self-reflect and stay in their own lane, and you try to antagonize them at the end of the day to get a reaction at the end of the day, to get a reaction out of them at the end of the day, and you're not getting what you want, because you only come up short. Because you come up short. Because that person understood God's plan. That person understood that they could be psyched out their freedom. They thought process, they thought process, they pockets, or they eyesight. And they knew their steps was already ordered. Because God's been covering them this whole entire time. Because they walk by faith, not by sight. Something that you're not able to understand is to stay in your own lane. But when you go within, I hope you truly find peace in your own lane, neighbor. And be careful when you judge a book by its cover. It's a thought process to me. Regardless of your sexual orientation, your disability, your culture, or your religion. If someone does not have malicious intentions to bring harm towards themselves or others around them, and they just in their own lane, it's called respect. Don't try to get in somebody else's lane to put negative projection on somebody, and all you just did was just judge a book by its cover. Because you're your worst enemy. Because you're your own worst enemy. There are really good people out here in this world. There are. There are. Regardless of their sexual orientation, their religion, their culture, or their disability. And I say that respectfully. There are good people out here. There are. But they light gets dim in your eyes because you didn't see their worth. You didn't understand their value. You didn't understand their confidence. You didn't understand that that person has self-discipline. You didn't understand that that person has self-control. You didn't understand that that person has self-awareness, let alone self-respect. And they was just in their own lane. Not everybody's the same. And it's disgusting to see that a projection of the enemy, because this is what the enemy likes, to psych about their thought process, to allow you to believe that everybody's the same, and everybody's not the same. Regardless of your sexual orientation in the day, not everybody's the same. Everybody does not do crack. Everybody does not drink. It's just a prime example. Not everybody is the same. Not everybody ties their shoe the same. And I say that respectfully. It's the thought process to me. That's why self-awareness is very important. So you can understand to stay in your own lane. And understand that, hey, I'm not going to shortchange my neighbor today because I don't understand how they tie their shoe today. And they don't have malicious intentions towards me or others around me. Or they're not trying to put a projection on my children in a negative way. They're only showing me respect from a distance. That energy hit different. It's a thought process to me. I'm about to wrap this video up. Be careful when you judge a book by its cover. It's the thought process to me. The enemy allows you to believe that becoming your own worst enemy was the norm for a very long time. God works in mysterious ways. Be careful and mindful who you vote for. Be careful and mindful for who you allow in your energy. Be careful and mindful as to when you show up for yourself. And I say that respectfully. When it comes to judging a book by its cover. Because not everybody is the same. They're not. They're not. Everybody's not the same. At the end of the day, you may have been judged your whole entire life, right? But when does enough become enough for you? And imagine you putting that projection on an innocent person. Just to self-reflect, you know what, dang, I just bothered an innocent person. You dish out your own karma. And I say that respectfully, you do. You dish out your own karma, because now what happens is you have to self-reflect as to what you just did. You have to self-reflect and take ownership as to, you know what? Accountability is real. Something that you never did before. It's take accountability for your actions. That's why self-awareness is very important. It really is. You don't know what your neighbor been through. Just like your neighbor don't know what you've been through. It may have been days you wanted to give up. You was probably in fear. You probably was discouraged. You didn't want to be here. But your neighbor understood the same thing. They had experienced the same thing. But they understood their obstacles. Everybody's obstacles, overcoming their challenges every single day, are different when they show up for themselves and they mean what they say. Like, listen, I choose my future not to shortchange myself today, become my worst enemy, because my past don't live for today. Or I understood to go within and do the proper healing, not to shortchange myself to become victim to my trauma, my pain. Because I don't want to become my worst enemy anymore. I don't want the enemy to watch me destroy myself. I want to find me to love me. It's the thought process to me. Be mindful when you judge a book by its cover. God works in mysterious ways, and God works in mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways. Be careful when you judge a book by its cover. You're only playing your own face, and I say that respectfully. Because taking accountability for your actions, you gotta take that up with God. Because God saw everything that you was doing. Judgment Day is here. Have you not been paying attention? It's a thought process for me. Now you genuine love, respect. I truly appreciate your time to the genuine ones only. Just because someone gave up on you, don't give up on yourself. Just because someone overlooked you, don't give up on yourself. You are genuinely loved by all the right people. You are genuinely respected by all the right people. And you deserve to be treated with respect. 365 days with no malicious intention to bring harm towards yourself or others around you. You matter and you are worthy. Never allow hate in disguise or personal malicious intentions. It's like you got your thought process, your feeling, your pockets, or your eyesight. Because they don't have good intentions. You know, loving yourself is not a crime. It's not. Because God has not dimmed the light within you. And I say that respectfully. God has not dimmed the light within you. They don't understand why God chose you. They don't understand how God's allowing you to stay in your own lane, to elevate, to become your best self version of yourself, regardless of your sexual orientation, your disability, your culture, your religion. And you don't have malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself or others around you. Or along, you're not putting any negative projection into the universe. It's not a crime to love yourself. It's not. It really isn't. But the good God wouldn't put you in a mental state as to psyching you out your freedom. And I say that respectfully. The enemy did that. The enemy psyched you out your thought process. So you could become your worst enemy. So you could kick your neighbor down. So you could poison yourself. While the enemy poisons you. The good God would never poison you. The good God heals you. The good God loves you. The good God shows you that, hey, be patient with yourself. I got your back because you walk by faith, not by sight. The good God. The good God does not dance with the enemy. And I say that respectfully. The good God would not want you to kick your neighbor down because they're having a misunderstanding self-day with themselves. The good God doesn't want you to put yourself in a situation where you're second-guessing yourself, saying to yourself is, why did I just put myself in that situation when I'm trying to find balance in my day? To find me. The enemy psyched you out your thought process for so long to allow you to believe that it was the norm for you to become your own worst enemy. The good God wouldn't want you to do that. And I say that respectfully. You matter, you are worthy. And God is real. God is real. You know, certain individuals will say that God wouldn't favor a child of God that's gay. And that's not true. Not even a little bit. But be careful when you judge a book by its cover, because you're only playing your own face. You don't know what that child of God went through and what they overcame, regardless to who gave up on them or overlooked them at the end of the day. You don't know what they overcame, and God was by their side this whole entire time to cover them. So you have to really be mindful when judging a book by its cover, because not everybody has malicious intentions. Just like your family members. You have family members that may be gay, lesbians, or whatever the case may be. Trans. And they don't have malicious intentions. They're the sweetest people. They're the most respectfulest people. They wouldn't bring harm towards innocent people at the end of the day. They may know how to defend themselves when someone trying to bring harm towards them, but they don't just go out here just bothering innocent people. And I say that respectfully. It's the thought process to me. How individuals go against a community that's not even bothering nobody, because of the enemy allows you to believe that they put certain individuals in certain areas and groups or whatever the case may be, to allow you to believe that everybody's like that. Everybody's not like that. They're not. Everybody's not like that. It's really the thought process to me, because you wouldn't want that projection on you and your community. And I say that respectfully. And especially when you're not like that, to bring harm towards innocent people or children at the end of the day. And I say this respectfully. Everybody is not the same. They're not. There are genuine people out here that help people every single day, that respects their neighbors every single day with no malicious intentions. I may not talk to you, but I know how to respect my neighbor with no malicious intentions. Because of a projection that the enemy allows you to believe everybody in the community was like that? How? Just like this. Not everybody's dysfunctional. Not everybody's criminals. They're not. Not everybody's a criminal. Just like you have a child that you love and protect, and you look at them every single day, you ask God to protect and cover them, and they're not a criminal. But you wouldn't want your baby to be labeled as a criminal, knowing your baby's not a criminal. It's the thought process for me. You see how that happens? How the enemy sits back and allows you to believe it was the norm to label somebody. It's the thought process to me. It's the thought process to me. I'm gonna wrap this video up now. I truly appreciate time to the genuine ones only. Have a safe day. Have a safe remaining month. Have a safe remaining year. Protect yourself. Be safe out here. Wear your mask. It's a virus going around at the end of the day, and all money is not good money. It's not. And I say that respectfully. All money is not good money. What they're going to do is try to psych you out your thought process. That's what they're going to do. It's so unhealthy that individuals are fighting each other, in competition with each other. Who could do this better? Who could do that better? While the enemy sits back and watches you do their job. God is not too pleased. Not even a little bit. It's a thought process to me. Judgment Day is here. Have you not been paying attention? Get it together. Get it together, get it together, get it together. It's Judgment Day, guys. Do you know the definition of Judgment Day? It's been here. Oh, a message to the person in the back. You've fallen short. Not only you're falling short, your plan is not working anymore. And because your plan is not working anymore, you're losing your marbles. And because you're losing your marbles, you don't know what's next. But just know at the end of the day, in the process of you hurting your own people, wow. In the process of you hurting your own people, you continue to hurt more innocent people. And it's so unhealthy. But just know at the end of the day, God works in mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways. And it's so sad to see. Not only do you hurt the innocent people within the process, but you hurt your own people within the process, right? And you want forgiveness so bad now. You want forgiveness so bad. But you was warned multiple times to stop. You was warned multiple times to stop hurting innocent people in the process. That's all you kept doing. Hurt a lot of innocent people in the process. You psyched a lot of innocent people out their thought process, their freedom, and their eyesight. Because all money ain't good money. And that's it. Like, all money ain't good money. It's not. That's something that you created. And that's something that is borderline, is so dysfunctional. Because you allow innocent people to believe it was the norm to become their worst enemy. When it shouldn't have to be this way. But you allowed it to be this way, so you made your bet. You got a lie in it now. You can run, you can hide, but you always will be found. And you know who you are. And nobody's scared of you. It's a thought process to me. To the genuine ones only. Protect your energy. Be careful with individuals coming to approach you, acting like they're so into God when they're truly not. Because all they would try to do is psych you out your freedom, your thought process, and your eyesight. They don't have good intentions when it comes to actually respecting you. That's the enemy trying to attack you. And I say that respectfully. Leave people alone, sir. Ma'am, you know who you are. Whatever you are. It is the thought process for me. Leave innocent people alone. Just leave them alone. Let them children free. Let them babies free. Let them free. Let them free, let them free, let them free. Just let them free. And release them innocent people as well, too. Continue to release them. Continue to release the innocent people. And I say that respectfully. Continue to release the innocent people. We don't want no problems. Don't. Not even a little bit. It's the thought process for me. It's been going on for a little bit too long now. A little too long. I know you're tired, because you can't keep up. You can't. You can't. And you keep asking for forgiveness. How you asking for forgiveness, but you continue to destroy? And the way you're destroying is so unhealthy. Leave innocent people alone. Ma'am, sir, it. Leave them alone. To the genuine ones, protect yourself. Be safe. Not everybody say who they say they are. Not even a little bit. I don't fear anyone but God. I am my own army. It's a thought process for me. God works in mysterious ways. Judgment Day is here. Have you not been paying attention? Gotta get right with God. The good God. Because God does not dance with the enemy. Not even a little bit. And I say that respectfully. Protect your energy, because not everybody's deserving to be part of your journey, let alone for you to value their time. And I say that respectfully. It's not a crime to have self-awareness in a healthy way. It's nothing better than knowing who you are. Knowing who you are. If you knew who you are, you will go within to be at peace with yourself, to love yourself, to honor and respect yourself, to know your self-worth, to know your self-value, and to shortchange yourself. Or let alone to become your worst enemy. It's the thought process for me. Now you genuine love, respect. Have a good day.